And this revision to my English class. These are some of the essays that I've done. So I'm going to be reading them to you all. So here we go. This is a revised draft on This I Believe. This is the first open telling scene on the This I Believe essay. I've experienced a crazy scene that would have ended my life. The scene happened back home where I almost get killed by a palm tree. Sierra Leone, West Africa to be precise. After that accident passes me, my belief in the Almighty Allah even got stronger. I made a mistake. Instead of where, I should work. Okay. Now this is a picture of some palm trees. Now this is not the exact same palm tree that almost ended my life, but they're like a look-alike to that palm tree. Now this picture I'm about to show you is a picture of the city of Sierra Leone, West Africa, where I was born and raised. So this is the picture you guys looking at. Alright, let me continue reading the essay. Now this is the descriptive part of the essay of how the whole thing happened. This the accident that almost took my life. Here we go. It was a cool summer day in December. I went to school looking fresh as ever, wearing black shoes, black shorts, white undervest, white dress shirt, and a red tie with a fresh haircut. I got to class early as always. My seat was in the middle of the classroom. The instructor came in to the class and passed on an announcement saying all junior high will have to go outside in groups, and each group has to bring down one palm tree. It was a boys and girls high school, so even the girls have to be in groups. He said after his class is over, that's when we have to go out and do it. He was a very strict teacher. He can barely crack a smile. We used to call him six aside. That's kinda a joke. It wasn't nice, but what the hell, we all kids. Because he was a disabled. When he walked downsided. His class came to an end. We went outside to do what we had asked to do. I found my group. We used shovels and axes to dig up the ground so it could be easy for us to push the palm tree to the ground. And let me show you a picture of a shovel. I know we use more than one shovel, but this is a picture of a shovel to dig up the ground, the dirt. In this picture of axes, I mean it's just one, but and these tools I'm showing you, they're not like the exact one we use, but just trying to get you all caught up and know what I'm talking about. Alright, they were all old palm trees, so it wasn't that hard to bring them down. My teammates and I knocked down our palm tree. After that, we're supposed to go home. supposed to go home because class was dismissed and our tax was over, but I did not go home. I sat on a break with my vest on, looking at the other groups fighting to bring down their palm trees. I could not help it watching others struggling, so I got up and tried to help the other group. I felt like I was Superman or any other superhero out there. I put on my invisible Superman suit on. Now, I didn't really wear the Superman suit, but with this power I'm looking at, I felt like I was feeling like this. I could feel the power all over me. Me and the team I came to help started shaking the palm tree underneath really hard, and all of a sudden the top half fell off. The team I came to help saw it coming down, so they ran, but I did not. All I could hear was them screaming. I was frozen underneath the tree. I could not move or do anything. It was like I was half dead at the moment. The top half fell down on my back. I was lucky enough I was only left with a gaps on my back. A gasp on my back. People started asking me how I was feeling, if I am alright. All I could do was nod my head to respond to them, saying yes, I am fine. My family was not around, but the word spread around fast like a wildfire. I'm sorry. By the time I returned back to conscious, everyone was around me. The word even met my mother in the United States. She calls to check if I was alright. Now that was the descriptive side of the story. Now that's the telling scene I end the story with. After that experience, all I could think about was, what if I could have made any movement when I had my schoolmates screaming? I could have been hit by the top half of the palm tree really hard and lay down cold, or if I would have pulled my excuse me, my head up, I would have left blinded forever, or probably my spinal cord would have been broken if I would have moved. But it felt like there was a Holy Spirit around me that seizes me not to move or do anything. All I could say was, thanks to the Almighty Allah. You all can believe in what you want to believe in, but as for me, I believe in the Almighty Allah. Now, I made some correction along the way, 'cause I made some mistakes. Now, that's a story of me almost get killed by a palm tree back home. Now, this is a story of me with some girl that ends up having a baby for me. The story name is A Baby Mama I Don't Love. I'm sorry. This is the open scene to it. I wasn't in the country when the message met me that she's pregnant with my baby. I didn't even think twice. to say it wasn't my pregnancy. The people who used to see us messing around called me to convince me to answer to the pregnancy, but I didn't answer to the pregnancy. They even told me to answer to the pregnancy. I don't have to marry her. It's just for the baby. I ignored their advice. I was thinking about how ugly she was, and her attitude was ugly too. So all of that just made me deny the pregnancy. Even at a tender age, I used to love kids. I used to babysit for our cook. She used to tell me I would end up having a kid in my early age, and her words came true. But I hate the girl so much, I never answered to my baby. I would have answered if she was a beautiful girl with a good attitude, but she gave birth on my behalf to a bouncy baby boy. But the baby could not live long. He passed away at the age of 1 year old and some months due to chronic malaria. Now, where the story took place, back in my early teens in Sierra Leone, West Africa, I used to have a girl whom I was not into as much as she was into me. We were both in for something. I was into her for my explicit, while she was into me for the fame. What I meant by fame: when you are born and raised in Sierra Leone, West Africa, and you are lucky enough to have a relative lives in any European country or America, women will fail hard for you, young or old. She knew if we continued to have sex and maybe end up getting pregnant with my baby, my mother, who lives in the States, would take care of the pregnancy. That was one of the main reasons why she didn't want me to use protection in her whenever we were having sex. I don't know her intention till when she ends up getting pregnant with my baby. She was like in her mid-20s, and I was just 15 years old. And I was just 15 years old. She was 10 years older than me. She schooled me all I need is to know about making love and kissing. She was like my cougar. Now some of these sections, they all have a title, they have a name. In this section I call this was the side of me I was really enjoying being around her. Excuse me. I wasn't too hard to find. Most of the time I might be in my bedroom sleeping, maybe during the day time or night time. She would come around my house looking for me. When she comes in and woke me up, I would saw her naked right in front of me. We used to have sex with no protection. Whenever I tried to use protection, she would start to cry, saying I don't love her. Without lying in my bed naked, there was no chance of me letting her leave. I would take off the condom and have sex with her with no protection. We used to have sex in different places with no protection. In my bedroom, my uncle's bedroom, whenever he's not around. The guest room behind the house. It was like wherever the mood caught up with us. I never knew what the after effect would be. It was all about having fun to me. And I was really enjoying it. She was an ugly girl. My father never likes her because she came from a poor family. But when a girl smells nice, I never give up. When it comes to the explicit, the face can wait later. My father sees her family as gold diggers. I was never in love with her. and she knew that, because I used to stand in public and say I don't love her. But as soon as we were together with nobody in sight, I would say to her, you know, I didn't meant to say that. I was just playing with you. All it took for me to get what I want from her was to say a sleazy apology. She was a very disrespectful girl. She would cuss me out in public with no fear. Her attitude was purely nasty, but she knows how to apologize. She knew if she has something I can't resist explicit. We always set our differences up with make-up sex. We continue to have sex on a daily basis almost every day. Every time I used to be around her, all I want was some of that explicit. She finally got what she was in for the whole time, pregnant with my baby. Now this is another section that I titled, "This is a side of me I never thought it would come out of me." Come out of me. But I guess I'm no longer a baby. That's the name I gave to this section. I felt for some reason the poor baby spirit touched me, and I ended up answering yes. That was my pregnancy. That was my baby boy that passed away. I was very disappointed for not claiming what was righteously mine. I wondered if I would have come out earlier and say yes, that's my baby she's carrying. Maybe he would have still might be living right now. He would have been 9 years old right now. I pushed some of the blame on myself because I would have sent some money to her to take the kid to a hospital for proper treatment. But I was young and stupid, so I ended up making the wrong decision. My father was right. My family was so poor that they couldn't have took the baby to a hospital for cure. Sometimes I dream about kids. I'm not going to lie. Denying my kid was my biggest mistake I have made in my life so far. Now that story, it was tough for me, but I know I said some things that academically acceptable, but I have to start somewhere for you guys to understand what the story is all about and where the baby come from and all that. So now this is the last essay that I'm gonna read to you guys. Bobby struggles as a mother of two. On this I argue. A place at the table. 50 million people in the US, 1 in 4 children don't know where their next meal is coming from. Bobby, a single Philadelphia mom who grew up in poverty, excuse me, is trying to provide better life, for her 2 kids. Now this is right here. Bobby is struggling to feed her 2 kids. The money she's getting from the government is not good enough, and her kids are not getting enough nutrition food. Feed is one thing. Not getting enough money from the government is another thing. And her kids not getting enough nutrition food, that's another thing. Now here the story started. Bobby, an unemployed single mom in Philadelphia, is trying her best to feed her 2 small children using the money she gets from the supplemental excuse nutrition assistance program also known as SNAP or food stamps. But since the checks are too small and with no grocery store nearby, Bobby often ends up feeding her kids food she knows isn't good for them, skipping meals so her kids can eat, or when times are really bad, simply sending her kids to bed on empty stomachs. Empty stomachs. Can you imagine that? Sending kids, poor babies, they don't know nothing, to bed with no food in their stomach. It's really hard to read a story like this. Now, Bobby is not the only one going through these kinds of struggles. Here is another woman with a similar story. Janice Simon has 4 chicken legs and 5 kids to feed. Her freezer is bare, and her latest trip to the food pantry yelled a little else for dinner this night. A bag of their old carrots, a box of corn flakes, and candy some candy goods. She slathered barbecue sauce on the chicken, sliced the pan in the oven, and began a nightly ritual of distracting her 5 children from hunger. The 44-year-old single mother often skipped dinner herself. She hears Remy Node pack packet in her closet to rotation food. She tells her 2 youngest kids to play outside they didn't so they so they ain't thinking about eating. That's that's what I have to worry about, she says. I got look at these kids with their sad faces and no food. On the 13th of every month, she has counted on seeing a $600 payment on her food stamp debit card, but now that payment is a month late. These 2 women's struggles should not be allowed in our society. In addition to this story, the government is cutting funds from the SNAP program. Bobby struggles to get enough money from food stamps. The government is really not helping our problem. The Recovery Act food stamps boost was not supposed to disappear so rapidly. The plan had been to leave the increase in place until inflation caught up through annual adjustment to SNAP benefit levels, which had been expected to happen in 2015. But in Congressional Democrat Essential raided the cookie jar, using the future planned spending to offset the cost of property legislation in 2010. They said at the time that they would have put the money back before the decrease could take effect, but they have not kept their promise. The government calculate the food stamp stimulus increase by taking the level of benefits for the U.S. Department of Agriculture theft food plan in June of 2008 and increases by 13.6% in November. The USDA will reset benefit levels to the theft plan level from late June. A family of 4 receiving food benefits will get $36 less, while a single household will get $11 less. People receiving the minimum benefit, just $16, will receive $1 less. Nationally, the reduction amounts to $5 billion next year, according to the Center on budget and policy